I remember the mansion the way you remember a scent, unshakable, lingering, slightly out of reach. It was a sprawling, silent house with high ceilings that swallowed your voice and hallways lined with portraits whose eyes seemed to follow you politely. Grandma had a soft, crooked smile, and she always let me roam the rooms, pretending the house belonged to me too. My mother, on the other hand, treated it as a ledger, counting potential mistakes and costs in her mind before stepping inside. When Grandma died, she left me the mansion. $6.8 million worth of oak floors, faded wallpaper, and the smell of old books. The reading of the will was almost theatrical. My mother screamed across the polished floors, voice cracking. "She was senile! I'm contesting this!" And so began the 18 months that would stretch across my life like a taut rope, each day threatening to snap at the slightest tug. Lawyers, letters, court dates, my life became a timeline of waiting, watching my mother grow more venomous and more exhausted at the same time. She never said it outright, but I could sense the calculation behind her eyes. If she could prove Grandma was not of sound mind, she could erase me from the equation. I stayed out of the courtroom as much as possible. The lawyers took the lead. I recorded small fragments of the house in my phone, dust motes in sunlight, the slow creak of the floors, the faint smell of Grandma's perfume. These fragments became my companions. Sometimes I wondered if I was grieving Grandma or just the peace of mind she had left me. Then came the day they found the hidden room. I don't remember how I felt walking down that narrow corridor, feeling the walls close in, the air thicker, warmer. The door was unmarked, almost invisible behind a sliding panel in the library. My heart beat faster than I thought it could. Inside, dust had settled thickly over everything. A single camera sat on a tripod, a small stack of tapes next to it. My lawyer looked at me, eyebrows raised, and said nothing. It was clear without words we were about to step into Grandma's private world. The first tape we played showed her sitting in that very library. She was older than I remembered, frail, her voice wavering but precise. She spoke about the house, about me, about my mother, her criticisms, her fears, her hopes. She called out my mother's pride, her inability to see beyond herself, but also her potential for love if only she could slow down and listen. I stayed silent. My mother, when she eventually saw the recording, went pale. It wasn't theatrical. There were no tears, no screaming, just the sudden collapse of her assumptions, a quiet recognition that the authority she had claimed over me and over the house was no longer hers to wield. The lawyers intervened formally, presenting the tape as evidence. The judge paused, then allowed the ruling to stand. My mother left the courtroom without a word, her challenge over, her power visibly dissolved in that single, undeniable moment. The house and the truth within it was mine. But I did not feel victorious in the way the world might expect. There was relief, yes, but also a weight that I could not lift. The mansion's walls seemed colder now, filled with the echoes of what had passed between mother and daughter, grandmother and granddaughter. I realized that winning had not healed my family, it had merely clarified the fractures. In the months that followed, I made small gestures, inviting my mother to dinner in the new kitchen, leaving her letters in the hallway. Sometimes she accepted, sometimes she did not. Silence often lingered longer than conversation, but I held on to the hope that repair might be possible, even if imperfectly. Grandma's final message was clear: truth matters more than comfort. Authority, when wielded justly, can reverse injustice in ways that silence or fury cannot, and power, once seen, cannot be unseen. I walk the halls now alone, sometimes hearing my own footsteps as if they belonged to someone else. And sometimes I catch her voice, soft and crooked, reminding me that families are complicated, inheritance is complicated, and love, even when tangled with anger, remains a fragile thing worth preserving.